if you're well, the medical doctors will be broke. The pharmaceutical industry will be broke. So they can't afford for you to be very well. They need you to be sick. So they can't always tell you the truth. So you want to be healthy? What's your diet now? Get more salt.
I know that some doctors have said that if your blood pressure is high, cut down your salt intake. But that hasn't been found to work. There's research work that shows that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, our dear Pastor Chris, a man of God that I admire and love, is back again in the news. Quite frankly, I wish he would be in the news for some other things other than the many controversies that we have come to associate his name with. But as they say, it is what it is. So during one of his recent sermons, the respected man of God said this.
We listen to the so-called professionals, and many have died listening to them. Think how many people have suffered strokes and all kinds of ailments because they listen to their doctor. Think how many people have been afraid of salt. They say, oh, in fact, they've eliminated salt from their food. They don't want this because so much salt. Well, I thought so myself. I thought so too. I thought so. But this is why I talk to you about praying in tongues. Because from praying in tongues, the Spirit of God talks to me, He guides me. I speak in tongues and solutions come. So this is really remarkable, really remarkable. And you have to let others know. You have to let others know. You need salt. More salt than less salt. And you just heard, they've actually been giving all the sick people that they're treating in the hospitals, they're giving them salt. But they don't know. They repackage it and sell it to you in different forms. But you had it at home all the while. Let me read 2 Kings chapter 2. And he said, Elijah said, bring me a new cruse and put salt therein. And they brought it to him. And he went forth unto the spring of the waters and cast the salt in there and said, thus saith the Lord, I have healed these waters, and there shall not be from thence any more death or barren land. He used salt to heal the water. Let me show you an even more important one. You'll be surprised. St. Mark's Gospel, chapter 9 and verse number 50. The words of Jesus, salt is good. Look at it. That's Jesus. You can't beat that. If Jesus didn't mean this, what else did he mean? You tell me. If this wasn't what he meant, what did he mean? We just learned from the medical personnel that we listened to, they said a lot of people are sick because they don't have sufficient salt in themselves. That's why they're sick. And then the other guy said, for all the sick people in the hospitals all over the world, there's one thing that is common with all of them when they are admitted. There's one thing that's common with all of them. Intravenous salt. Salt is what they put into their bodies. Why did they do this? I told you, if you're well, the medical doctors will be broke. The pharmaceutical industry will be broke. So they can't afford for you to be very well. They need you to be sick. So they can't always tell you the truth. And many medical doctors find out about this late, so never discover. They think they're in a profession to help people get cured. After all, that's why they went to medical school. until they meet the regulators. And those who are from the Ministry of Health, they're not in the Ministry of Health. Let's say it a little better, Department of Health, because they don't make anybody healthy. So they know salt is cheap. But they repackage it to you, sell it to you in different forms, and tell you not to take enough salt in your food. And so you don't take it, then you get sick, then they sell it to you. So you want to be healthy? What's your diet now? Get more salt. Praise God.
But is it true that the Federal Ministry of Health is not interested in making you and I healthy? I don't have enough evidence to come to that conclusion, but I would say this. There is documentary evidence to support the claim that some drug companies have misled doctors and indeed some agencies of government. And of course, patients have been at the receiving end of such deception. But reacting to Pastor Chris's claim, the Federal Ministry of Health, through its Deputy Director of Information and Public Relations, Laba Balogun, on Wednesday said this: "While we deeply respect the important role of faith and religious leaders in our society, it is crucial to correct misinformation that poses a risk to public health. Salt is not the enemy. Salt contains sodium, an essential mineral that supports vital body functions such as nerve activity, muscle movement, and fluid balance. However, the concern lies in excessive consumption, not in salt itself. In line with the global best practices, the World Health Organization and the Nigerian government recommended a maximum of 5 grams of salt per day. Going beyond this threshold increases the risk of preventable disease and death. Research shows that most Nigerians consume more than double the recommended daily sodium intake. This excessive intake is a major contributor to high blood pressure, stroke, heart failure, and kidney disease, non-communicable diseases that continue to claim thousands of lives annually. We wish to state clearly, doctors do not lie. Nigeria's health professionals are trained to offer evidence-based guidance rooted in decades of scientific research and patient care. The statement ends by saying, "We therefore urge Nigerians to seek accurate health advice from qualified medical professionals and to join hands with the ministry in reducing the burden of preventable diseases." Incidentally, I myself had interviewed a seasoned nutritionist, Dr. Olufemi Ladeyinde, about 3 months back
Some doctors have said that if your blood pressure
about this same subject.
cut down your salt.
To my surprise during that interview, he seemed to have echoed some of what Pastor Chris is now saying.
We use a lot of salt. And I know that some doctors have said that if your blood pressure is high, cut down your salt intake. But that hasn't been found to work. There's research work that shows that if you took 1,000 patients and you restrict their salt intake, only 2 of them will benefit.
Really?
How about the remaining 998?
Wow.
The problem is this. The issue is not about the salt intake. The issue is about what is in the salt. You have a rather extensive mineral imbalance. The ordinary table salt that we use has an overabundance of sodium. How about magnesium? How about phosphorus? How about other minerals, micro minerals that are critical for the cardiovascular system to work? But when you go to find some of the more creative salts or some of the more natural salts, because the table salt has been bleached. It's been bleached until most of the other minerals have been removed from it, and you're left with the sodium. And wherever sodium goes, water will follow. And that is why your cells keep sodium completely out from inside of the cell, so that the cell doesn't get waterlogged. The potassium is kept inside the cell, and the sodium is kept outside the cell. But most people who do not take enough salt will end up with a low level of potassium. We call it hyponatremia. And that will create a problem.
So, Dr. B, I don't want you to lose your train of thought, but something jumped out of me because I'm a little taken aback, because all that I've heard all my life is that if you want to reduce your blood pressure, run away from salt. But you are saying, if I hear you correctly, that it doesn't end there. The quality of salt that you then take matters a lot. What kind of salt would you recommend for someone who is battling high blood pressure?
I would offer a Celtic salt, or a salt that has a large number of minerals in it. Like, for example, you can say you're looking at a Dead Sea salt. When your salt contains 5, 6, 10, 20 different minerals in it, it is far better than the ordinary table salt that has only one major mineral, which is sodium. Maybe a little bit of the potassium, but the sodium is the primary mineral that's in it. You need a salt that has a large mineral profile.
So I've offered you 3 different perspectives. One from the perspective of a nutritionist, another from the perspective of the Federal Ministry of Health, and of course yet another from the gospel according to Pastor Chris. The choice is now entirely yours. I wish you the very best of luck.